journalists are starting to they're starting to wake up, and they're starting to get really annoyed with Karine Jean-Pierre, who will not answer a question properly. She
may as well just say, like,
she's tragically untalented. Here's unreal.
Here's what she should do at this point. All right, let's play again.
She should quit.
So ask me a basic question, and I'll answer it.
So what is happening with the response to
Hurricane
the Kuwait
Ian.
situation?
To
The
what
Kuwait situation.
Kuwait situation.
Kuwait.
Well, it's a great question. The other day, I was out in New York with a friend of mine, and we went to this really great place called Lafayette in New York. It's on Lafayette, and they have beef tartare. It's amazing. It's actually some of the best. So, next question.
So basically, what you're saying, her response should just be "fuck you." Next question.
Misdirection.
Oh, sorry, I'm not. Oh, my bad.
The family-friendly show here.
You did it.
No, I just mean, like, if she's not going to answer the question, just tell something interesting, you know? Like, she could be like, oh, yes, that's an excellent question. Did you guys see the latest House of Dragons? I don't understand what was going on because, like, I turned it on and it's the future now. Did you watch this?
Yeah, they changed the actors.
But it's the future now.
Yeah.
And, like, Rhaenyra has a bunch of kids. I just got confused as to what I was watching and turned it off. That's a better answer than anything she could have said. I'd be like, oh, that's
less insulting.
Is that what happened on House of Dragons?
Top of mind.
Top of mind. I would rather someone be like, Karine, the president called out to a deceased member of Congress. Can you explain what's going on? I'd be like, yeah, actually, I've been watching Better Call Saul. And I don't know if you guys saw the episode, the last one where the German guy gets executed. Man, what a great show. What a great show. It was really crazy to see Mike kind of like becoming this character where he doesn't want to kill the person, but eventually becomes this cold-blooded killer in Breaking Bad. Next question.
I kind of disagree with you, Andrew. I think she's doing a great job because as a White House spokesperson, she's supposed to represent the administration. And what better way to do that than to be confused when she's answering questions from journalists and not answering any questions and not having any kind of intellect when it comes to answering questions.
She's trying to mirror Joe Biden.
She's doing it in a very good way.
Okay.
And she does represent the administration perfectly.
What if, you're mentioning how like the journalists are just like getting fed up with being lied to? What if eventually she just snaps because like she's desperately trying to spin the unspinnable, and so just comes out and she goes, I'll be honest with you, I think that dude's his brain is just gone. I don't even know what to say anymore. Look, I've been trying really, really hard to spin these answers for you guys, but clearly we're at a point where everybody knows Joe Biden can't think straight.
Yeah, the guy had two brain aneurysms in 1988. He's not doing too well. What do you think he's going to be doing?
What if she said that'd be amazing?
Yeah, I would love that.
What do you think? His brain doesn't work. Next question.
But I don't know if these journalists are being lied to. I just think that she's just not answering a question, or when the other day, you one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life from anybody in any administration. Peter Doocy asked her. They were talking about the border, and she was like, they don't walk over the border. They don't walk across the border. And he's like, no, that's exactly what happens. That's exactly like, what world do you live in?
I've been there. I can confirm that. That's exactly what.
Dude, it's amazing because she says nothing. Like the answers she gives aren't like when asked about the deceased member of Congress, she goes, well, and she looks down and she goes, Joe Biden was honoring these people, and she was of top of mind.
Honoring.
Do you remember Jay Carney though?
That's what she said. She was.
That was Jay Carney. Jay Carney for Obama did the same thing. Except he talked even slower.
Look, what I loved about Kayleigh McEnany was that she had the book, and she'd be like, "You're lying, journalist." But now it's like what's happening is journalists are actually asking. It's like Peter Doocy. I don't know if he like was a wake up call to these people, but now they're asking real questions that you can't spin it anymore. It's just unspinnable.
I mean, the binder. You're right, Richie. The binder has always been there, but it's just so blatant that she doesn't have a thought on her own, a thought of her own. She just has to go to the binder 99% of the time.
I imagine that like when they were deciding who's going to replace Jen Psaki. They had the candidates, and they were like, "This Karine, she can string words together for a long time." Yeah, they don't mean anything, but
she's really good at those word salads.
They shouldn't.
It's all word salad. It's crazy.
She should not. She's there. We know why she's there. John Kirby should be there. John Kirby he's articulate. He actually knows what he's talking about. He should be there. But they went with Karine Jean-Pierre, so she could be like the first this and the first that and check off a bunch of boxes.
I wonder if, behind the scenes, the White House, they're watching the press briefings and they're just laughing at the journalists. They were like, they still show up? Like, at what point do you just stop showing up? She's not going to answer your question. She's not even, like, that's why I was making the joke about if she just started talking about Breaking Bad or something, at least you'd have some coherent thought. Like, she would be telling you a thing, you'd be like, okay, well, it's unrelated, but at least it's something. No, it's what is of top of mind? She was clearly of top of mind. Are you saying that, like, he was thinking about her or something and that's why he misspoke? What does that mean? What is that phrase? But she just kept repeating it. And then my favorite is when they're like, okay, I'm going to ask you again because you didn't answer the question. She goes, I already explained it to you. She was of top of mind.
And then she read it again from the binder. and then there was a journalist who said, well, look, I think about John Lennon every day. He's on top of mind, and I don't expect him to show up.
Wait, a journalist said that?
Yeah, a journalist said that. Yeah, like I'm paraphrasing, but he said, and she's like, well, when John Lennon becomes the president, then we can talk about it then.
What? When
like
John Lennon becomes the president?
Yeah, like she's just an idiot.
That's like a Jen Psaki, like you condescend the question.
Yeah.
Without answering
it.
it.
She was so smug.
But at least she could spin.
At least she was competent enough to be smug.
She was the State Department spokesman under Obama.
I didn't think she was that.
She wasn't really good then either, but
no. But I think she was for the spin that she spun. She spun spin. You know what I mean? Like Karine Jean-Pierre is just garbled word salad. It'd be like, here, let's try it again. Ask me a question.
You mentioned Jay Carney before. There was a hullabaloo with Joe Biden. When there was I think it was like the bird flu, and he was like, well, I wouldn't want to get on a plane because if somebody coughs and like the whole plane's going to get bird flu. And then the press actually, it was actually Jake Tapper, I believe, who was like pushing Jay Carney. It's like, that's not true, right? Like, and then they're like, well, what the vice president meant to say.
Yeah,
and they're like,
exactly.
No. What he meant to say is not what he said. Like they were trying to spin a thing that Joe Biden actually believed. He got a thing wrong, and they were like, no, what he meant to say. It's like, no. It's what he said. He was wrong, and he can't admit it.
Ask him a question.
So what was Joe Biden referring to when he was trying to call out an audience member who died a month ago?
Volkswagen. Oatmeal spoon. Ferrari. Cumulonimbus.
Oh, that's true.
Rhododendron.
Yeah, the nimbus is correct. Yeah.
Methylprednisolone.
Oh my, yes.
That was a big one.
Bismuth, how do you say that?
Salaciousness.
No. Bismuth salicylic. I don't know the word. You get what I mean though. Pepto-Bismol.
Ah, yeah.
Yes. Choriqueso. Yeah, choriqueso. Guacamole.
Languages, yeah.
And
graphene.
Buongiorno. Like she may as well just be saying random words, and the journalists keep asking. It's like they're sticking their hand in a fire, thinking something different is going to happen every time.
It's like the way you say it, not how you say it. It's like if someone says, "I went down to Peru," and you're like, they're smart. They know, they know how to pronounce Peru.
You know what's crazy though? They really tried to do a hit job on all the Republican press secretaries. Like there was reliable sources. They put out a story where they said Sarah Huckabee Sanders says you don't get a lot of answers from her. Not a lot of answers, and it's her saying it was like a montage of her saying I don't know. Which didn't mean that she didn't know the answer to the question. She was saying things like, "I don't know why Democrats would want this thing," and they made, because of course they're dishonest, and they put together this montage. But with Jen Psaki, you could do that, or Jay Carney, you could do the same. You could do the same thing, but actually he didn't have a lot of answers, and neither did Jen Psaki. And I need to remember this. I'll circle back to you. How many circle backs there were at the beginning.
But that's why, the whole daily briefing is an act in the first place. Like the President Clinton started the White House briefings, and it was basically like the 24-hour news cycles came out. They needed stuff coming out of the White House, consistently content, and it became like I started working at NBC in end of 2012, and I decided to leave the cable news game because I was like, this is such BS because it's. You pay your dues, you ask the right questions, and if you ask the right questions, you play the game for long enough, then you'll be one of those frontmen, right? So you just have to play the game in cohorts with the White House. And so it's like this relationship between the Fourth Estate and the government that is the exact opposite of the purpose of the press, which is like to, ask the tough questions.
I think they should just get rid of it. It's TV time for these
just-
reporters. That's all it is, because they have a press office.
Yeah, they should do a TikTok briefing instead.
There is such thing as email. They can just go and say, here's my question, please answer it in an email. But instead, that's
why I don't watch this stuff. I've never watched.
I watch it every single day because for content.
You may as well just sit in your bathroom and flush the toilet every few seconds. That's what you're watching.
That's what I watch.
Yeah,
but it depends. Like with
great.
Kayleigh McEnany, she actually answered questions.
Well, hold on, but she was calling out the corporate press. That was awesome.
She didn't have to do that, but she did, and she did it very well. She was amazing, and Sanders was great too. They were very, very amazing press secretaries. Sean Spicer, on the other hand, total garbage. He set the tone.
I pitched him on a motorized podium after Jenny McCarthy. What's her name?
Motorized podium.
Remember Saturday Night Live did that spoof, and they had. Who was what was her name?
Yeah, it was Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
She was on a motorized podium. It was super slow, and I saw Sean Spicer. I was like, hey man, I want to give you a motorized podium that's so fast. I have a skateboard that goes 25, and we'll put flames on it, and we'll rip that podium around DC, and it'll go viral.
How awesome!
And he didn't like my idea at all.
How awesome would it be if Dave Smith actually wins the presidency and then Michael Malice becomes the press secretary? It'd just be. It'd be so amazing. He'd just be like,
destroy them.
For one, he'd be ragging on the corporate press, which would be hilarious. But then he'd probably just say things exactly as they are.
I think it would just be an empty room after like 2 weeks. Just no one would go anymore.
Why?
Because they'd just be getting wrecked, and they're like,
No, I think
Malice just ruined my career because
someone would ask like, what's going on with the withdrawal of troops from Syria and the Middle East, and it'd be like, there's no reason for us to be at war in the Middle East or bring that troops back. Next question. Like Dave Smith would be like, we're ending the wars. We're getting everybody out of here. This is a waste of our time and money. And then there'd be no spin. They'd be like, yeah, we're ending the foreign wars like we promised.
Yeah, but then Lockheed Martin would call up NBC and be like, yo, you guys can't send a reporter there anymore. This is really bad.
But hold on. Can you imagine?
And it would be an empty room.
But let's think about that. With all of those clips where it's like, brought to you by Pfizer, brought to you by Pfizer. What do you think the media would do with like a President Dave Smith? You got President Dave Smith, Vice President Maj Touré with a Michael Malice press secretary. The news would be the most insane thing ever. There would be like photoshopped images of Michael Malice kicking puppies. Like Lockheed would be like, shut him down. Like, I don't care. Like it would just be the craziest news you could imagine. If you thought it was bad with Trump, imagine actually getting some libertarians in who are like, yeah, we're going to shut down the military industrial complex.
Yeah, they wouldn't get that. That's the point. Is like they wouldn't let it happen.
Well, and for that matter, think about the news cycle if they actually became competitive. Right now, among millennials, overwhelmingly, they reject both parties. Most, like, younger people are more okay with the Republicans. I'll put it this way. Younger people that lean conservative or libertarian are more okay with the Republican Party than young people are with the Democratic Party. Young leftist-leaning individuals despise Democrats. It's like 35% of millennials and Gen Z think the Democratic Party is trash, but they are leftists. They are left-leaning or liberal. So it's possible that you'll get eventually a third party that actually breaks through. I don't know about winning the presidency, but I just imagine if there's a real risk. One of the fears among Democrats is the Libertarian Party actually pulls votes from the Democratic Party, not the Republican. They thought that. They thought the Libertarian Party was going to hurt the Republican Party, but I think what happened in 2016 is it actually hurt Democrats. It pulls their votes. So they would have no choice but to try and destroy the Libertarian candidates because it's bad for them, for the establishment. I think that'd be interesting to see. What are they going to do about it, huh?
It could be a Pfizer party.
A Pfizer party?
Yeah, they'd probably win.
The Pfizer party.
I mean, yeah, if corporations are people, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Then why couldn't a corporation run for office?
Well, now
They
we
have
have
the funding.
people speaking on behalf of corporations, but pretending they're still people.
Yeah.
But that's what our White House press secretary is doing right now.
I don't know if there's a solution to all of the political BS that's going on. I feel like it's just gotten to the point where the emperor has no clothes. Even the journalists now can't pretend otherwise. And there's no solution. There's no like moment where people all agree like, hey, this probably isn't working. Let's get like some competent people in here. No, it's just like, I won't let you win, so I'll do whatever it takes, even if it means putting Biden in office.
I don't know. I think that there is some kind of change that will happen from this. Like if you looked at the last major populist election or major populist, I guess, uprising, you could argue that there are a couple more in between, but William Jennings Bryan in 1896 gave that famous speech, The Cross of Gold, and he wanted to switch to the silver standard, which would help small businesses and farmers. And William Jennings Bryan was like 36 years old, went into the DNC, gave this amazing speech, total dark horse candidate, took the presidential candidacy, ended up losing. But both political parties changed majorly in the wake of that. And actually the Bull Moose Party, Teddy Roosevelt, that was kind of the aftermath of both parties. That's when the Democratic Party really switched from the party of the South to the starting towards the working class, party of the working class, which, FDR's party
I mean, they were
started
still
in that
extremely
moment.
racist around then for a couple decades.
Yeah, look, I'm not here to defend the Democratic Party of 1896. I'm just saying that
Of 1896.
the shift started when this dark horse came out of nowhere and gave this amazing speech about how he's going to help out the little guy. And even though he didn't win, he came close. And it forced both parties to reckon with the fact that they weren't acknowledging that aspect of the population. So I don't know. I think that's a good thing.
I want to talk about this story here. Let's talk about Jordan Peterson.
Oh, by the way, rule of thumb,
Yeah.
real quick. It was William Blackstone, 1723. That was the basis of U.S. common law, which came from English common law, which was the rule of thumb. But he didn't explicitly state the thumb law in the United States.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.